What up, y'all? I'm Kang, and I can't sleep. I don't know how to wink. If you know how to wink, let me know. Um, so I can wink too. Anyways, um, I'm making this video today. It's kind of a tutorial. It's kind of not. I'm just we have some housekeeping things to go over with the with our compilations with NCORE Collective, and how we need them structured and how to achieve that. Um, if you want to just know the like the file format and all that, and this really specifics, you can cut to the end of the video. I'm just gonna brush over stuff real quick, and then we can get into the tutorial. But basically, it's one song per project. So you have one project, you get one song. That's per comp. Obviously, unless otherwise stated. We have a lot of people that contribute, and we want to have enough room for everyone to be heard. So, yeah, one song per project. We need it at 16 bits, 441 hertz. What else am I missing? Hold on, let me look at my notes. I got this. I got notes. Oh yeah. Fade ins. Fade ins. If you have a fade in or a fade out, let us know. I'll touch on that at the end. There's a specific reason why we don't want you to do fade ins, but we want to do them, or fade outs, fade in, fade outs, whatever. We can touch on that at the end. But yeah, that's kind of the broad strokes. You will send them to, what was it? ncorecollective@gmail.com. Why did I not remember that? That is such an easy email to remember. ncorecollective@gmail.com. Yeah, I'll make sure that's posted down in the comments or the description, wherever we post stuff. We're gonna need your band name, song title, plus any features that just so happen to be in there. Composer credits, so that would be like your actual name, the name of your band members, et cetera, et cetera. Lyricist credits, so whoever was the main lyricist of the song, we're gonna need them, and the type out of the entire lyrics. So yeah, without further ado, let's head over to the DAW. We're gonna get a little in depth with the tutorial side of things, and yeah, I'll meet you over there. It's just like that way. I don't know. We'll see you there. So we need your tracks in -6 dB wave format. Why? Why are we asking this? Why are we doing this? We do in-house mastering. We do in-house mastering for the entire compilation. No one does their own mastering. There's a reason for that. That's because when people get in their car and they listen to this music, if they listen to the full album and everything is at a different level and it's mastered different, they're going to have to mess with some EQ settings or mess with their volume every other song, every time it plays, and it's annoying as hell. So, how do we avoid that? What are we going to do? We're going to ask you to send us a -6 dB headroom track, and we're going to do some in-house mastering. So, why do we ask that? Why are we wanting that from you? I'm going to show you under the hood why we're doing that. So we have here a session for the compilation song that I'm working on for the NCORE Collective 90s cover comp. And I'm going to go ahead and show it to you with a full mastering chain on. Okay. And then once I show you that, I'm going to kind of run you through the mastering chain on like a shallow level. I'd like the opportunity to go into a deeper dive in the future with another video on like actually mastering your own stuff. Just for personal reasons, I think everyone could benefit from that. And also just being able to make a faux mastering track that you can record to. You know, it helps you, you know, if you can have a track that is already sounding pretty polished from the get-go, it might help your writing decisions. You might choose to do certain different things. Anyways, I'm getting off tangent here. I'm gonna go ahead and play this. Then we're gonna go through the mastering chain. I'm gonna go ahead and turn that whole mastering chain off. I'm gonna show you how I achieve that negative 6 dB without cheating, because you can cheat this. And if you cheat it, you're just cheating yourself because it's gonna sound like shit. But I'm going to show you how we can achieve this without cheating, and it's very, very easy, and anyone can do it. If you have even the little sense of how audio works and how a DAW works, we can make this happen. So without further ado, I'm going to play this song. We're going to listen to it with the master on, and then again, we'll turn it off and we'll walk through how we get that negative 6. So let's go ahead and get this. So start from the beginning. All right, that's cool. That's cool. We don't need to go much further than that. So here is the I'm in Cubase, by the way. So here is the stereo out, which would be your master track. So we have this list of plugins here. Not everyone will be applied to every song that gets submitted. This is kind of a preset of what we would use, but we can turn off any of them if they don't work, and they all get tweaked on a per song level. So when your song comes in, your specific style is taken into consideration. It's listened to, and we try to work that track with these plugins on a per track basis. It's not just open up a preset, hit master, and it's done. No, we don't do all that. This time around, Leonhardt's going to be taking care of mastering. I have taken care of like two of the compilations, I think, but he's done, you know, multiple others as well. So here's what we have, and here's why that negative 6 dB is important. That negative 6 dB is important because what we have here, there's a few subtractive level plugins, but there's also pretty much most of this is additive. So to some degree, our compressor is subtractive because, you know, it can make things quieter, right? And the EQ is mostly used as a subtractive thing, but it can be additive. But mostly we have a bass enhancer. That's going to be additive. We have a stereo widener. We have, let's see here, a tape saturator, and then a clipper. So these are all additive things. And if you send us a track that's already mixed to, and there's a difference in mixed to and just being at, but if you send us a track that's mixed to 0, we have no headroom in order to add these additive effects. Whereas if you send us a track that has negative 6, we have 6 dB of headroom that we can start adding effects, right? We have all that room to add little subtle things to build up to a fully mastered track. But if you send it to us at 0, as we start adding things, it clips. It starts clipping. It sounds bad. It doesn't, no one wins here. So I'll briefly run through what we're adding. And yeah, I'd like to make a dedicated mastering-esque video. If you're interested in that, comment, say something. But so yeah, bass enhancement. And then we use this as a utility plugin, which is under 80 hertz. Hi, I'm Kang, and this is the part of video for the sponsor, whatever, and we don't have one. So, do you need better help? No, you don't. You don't need better help. What you need? Hold on. What you need is. Hold on, I got this. What you need is a Game Boy. You don't need better help. You need a Game Boy. Or what's another sponsor? I don't know. Whatever the sponsors are, you don't need them. You just need a Game Boy. Yeah. The sponsor. Better Game Boy. Thank you. Which will change per song depending on, where that lies, but under 80 hertz on this song specifically, everything is mono. So all the bass, any bass that goes below 80 is mono, no stereo. And then we have a stereo width, so we're adding 20% stereo. We're just kind of blowing things out a little bit. It's real subtle, not a huge thing. It's a utility plugin. Then we have a bus compressor that just kind of glues everything together. This is a real one that kind of changes on a per song level very frequently, because some people, are really good at just by ear gluing their song together. Some people aren't. I'm one of them, and I have to use this plugin to make sure everything sounds cohesive together. Then this is just a real subtle EQ. This is for, this song specifically. It'll change per song. Sometimes we'll have to do some crazy shit and, add a shelf or something. It's, it's a per song level. So this is just what I could hear with my ears in this specific song. Then we have a tape saturator. It's kind of like the bus glue or the bus compressor. It's just adding a subtle distortion to the entire song as a whole. And it's, it just kind of blurs all the transients so they kind of blend together a little better. Then we have a clipper, which is where we're going to get all of our volume from. So what we couldn't make up with the additive plugins, we'll finally cap off with a clipper where we'll just push the volume, clip off the transients, and it'll just sound super loud. So where you think it may not end up loud, this is where we essentially make it loud, right? So that's the broad stroke of the mastering chain. So now I'm going to go ahead and play this back. Actually, I'll do a side-by-side real quick with the mastering without it. Just because, fuck it. Cool. Now I'm going to play it without the mastering. You can see it's overall really subtle, as mastering should be. You do the heavy lifting in the mixing. You don't do it in the mastering stage. But let's get into how I, quote, don't cheat it. And it's, again, this is going to be a broad stroke thing, but this is just like I guess, a mini tutorial, if you want, on gain staging. So you can see here, everything hits around -6. This is where my master, my stereo out is. So if you notice, everything is going to hit around -12. That was kind of the chosen number on my end. So if you add up all of these tracks and I have them sit around -12, they're all going to eventually additively become -6, right? So pay attention to these other tracks, opposed to maybe the Game Boy 2, lead guitar, and drone guitar. Ignore those. Pay attention to the drums, the bass, the guitar 1 and guitar 2. They're going to hover around -12. They might go above -12 here and there. That's just how transient heavy instruments are, and that's okay. I want like an average of them being around -12. I don't need them to stay there. You know, they can dip below that, they can go above that, but I ultimately want them to be around -12 for like 80% of the time that it's being played. So I'll go ahead and play this. Pay attention to that. So they might be a little less, and that's fine. That's cool. It is what it is, and what it ain't. But they were generally around -12, and then you see when it gets over here, it hits around -6 ish or whatever. Now the reason why I told you to kind of ignore Game Boy 1, 2, and lead and drone guitar is because they're generally more centralized tracks. They're not panned. Okay, they're not taking up the stereo field. They're going to be in the center. So because they're in the center, they're going to overlap, right? They're going to have fighting frequencies, especially because they're kind of in the same range. So I kind of mix these a little lower, because if you add two of them up, like say, let's do Game Boy 1 and lead guitar 1, right? We'll go ahead and solo that and solo that. You'll see and you'll notice this Game Boy 1's a little lower than -12. Game Boy 1's a little lower than -12. Actually, I think that one was hitting more around -18. But the lead guitar is right around -12, a little bit lower. But once you add them up, if you look at the stereo track, that's kind of adding them up, right? Because they both feed into that track. So if we look at the stereo track, I'll play it long enough for you to kind of pay attention, but watch Game Boy 1, then watch lead guitar, watch where they're at on the mixer, and then look over to stereo, okay? If you look over there, they should be collectively hitting around -12, which in the grand scheme of things is like one instrument, like drums, bass, or the collective guitars hitting around -12, right? So I'll go ahead and play this. Pay attention to those three things. So you saw, boom, around -18. About probably -15, and then collectively they hit -12. So that's kind of the philosophy there. But these little fucking faders don't like being this low, right? And let me tell you why. It's a mathematical thing. It's some nerdy science shit. But basically, the higher up on this mixer you are, the more control you have, the more clarity you have. So moving down half a dB here is different than moving half a dB from -20. You know, that's why they have, you can see from 0 to 6 has a bigger gap than negative 20 to 30, right? Because the lower you go, the less clarity you get. So I want to get all of these back to 0. There's multiple ways you can do this. So what I do personally is I will, using this again as a arrangement file, a recording file, a tone creating file. Like this project itself is just going to be used for like the rough and dirty. This is the legwork of this project. It's not the real mixing project. So what I would do here is just keep these faders where they're at and then mix down the stems, all of the individual tracks into their own stemmed out track. And then I can create a new Cubase file that I would probably call my own worst enemy mixing. Still haven't recorded the LSDJ. Still haven't recorded the vocals yet. I actually haven't even finished the guitar yet. So I'm still working on a lot of things in this project, but I figured I could broad stroke on how to get to -6 with your own tracks with people that are close to being done. But more importantly, I would mix these down. Then when I load these up in a new project on the new tracks or whatever, they would all equal out to 0 automatically. They won't load with these faders where they're at. Once I add the new tracks into a new project, they're going to all 0 out. But say you want to do it all on the same track. Say you don't want to do multiple tracks, which I know that's how a lot of people are. We'll use guitar 1 and guitar 2 as an example. All right. So you can see -9.64, -9.25 is where these faders are. I want to get these fuckers back up to 0, right? So what am I going to do? I'm going to go add this kilohertz gain plugin. And we can link it down in the description. They have a really cool, Kilohertz has a really cool toolbox of free plugins that anyone can get, anyone can use, and there are a lot of really good utility plugins. You just load this up, and so this is -0.25 at -9.5, close enough. So I can turn this on at the end. And for those who don't know, plugins do have to go in order. So the top feeds into the next one, feeds into the next one, feeds. So you always want to add this gain plugin at the end of your chain. So it's after all of my effect plugins. This is my volume. This is basically a fader before the fader. So this is close, 9.5, 9.25. So I can go ahead and let's just mute that. And I will turn this off. You can see it's going to hit around -12. Yeah. Cool. And then I can go and turn this on and then dime out this fader. So now we're at 0. And we have this plugin that's aiding us to get to -12. Now I'm going to do a side-by-side where I will turn this plugin off, and I'm going to warn you, it is going to get very loud. But I'll show you exactly what this plugin's doing. It's literally just turning down the volume by 9.5. But I'll play it, and then I will turn it off at some point. Just pay attention to my mouse. All right, cool. So you can see that basically is just this fader. It's just as a plugin. And now we have that crisp clarity of being at 0 and being able to turn things down micro increments, right? So that is basically where we're at with gain staging. What did I just do? -9.5. Okay, there we go. Okay, so yeah, that's where we're at with gain staging. That's how I say it's mixing to -6 opposed to just turning down to -6, because the way I just showed you the gain stage will basically make your song more dynamic. If you just turn it down, it's still technically mixed to 0, right? It's still just mixed to 0. It still doesn't have the dynamics of -6, if that makes sense to you. And if you have any questions about that, feel free to go in the comments and ask those questions, or in the description we'll add a link to the Discord, and I'm assuming you're already in it because this is probably going to be posted to the Discord first. But anyone who stumbles upon this, if you want to go jump into the Discord and ask questions, or in the comments, feel free to. But yeah, that is how we're going to achieve that more dynamic, less cheat method of mixing to -6. One more housekeeping thing too. When you send in your tracks, we're definitely going to need them in WAV format. And I will show you. I already set mine up for it. We're going to need them in WAV format. Let's see. .wav. WAV format. Sample rate 44.1. Bit depth is 16. And the reason for all of this, just to explain it all, the reason for all of this, we use CD Baby, and this is the way they require their music to be sent in. And in order to do online distribution the way we do, this is the route we have to go. So we request this from you, and I hope you can make that happen for us. Otherwise, we'll probably have to hit you up and have you remix it down. If you don't know how to change these format settings, just Google search it. Put in whatever DAW you use. I'm using Cubase. Some people use FL, Ableton, whatever you use. Just put in your DAW, for instance, FL Studio. Change export settings. Just Google that. Boom. It'll tell you what to do. Anyways, that's all I have on this end. So we have a couple more housekeeping things to take care of, and then we'll finish up this video. All right. That was riveting. I know it was. I know you had a great smashing time. But it was informative. That's the important part. And now you kind of know why we're going to require everyone to mix to a certain level in order to have cohesive mastering, which is very important for a compilation album. We want everyone to be sounding as similar as possible with all, the mixing is what's going to make us all unique, and the way we arrange tracks and the way we write them. That's what's going to make us unique. But the sonic qualities at the end of the day, the loudness and all of that is what's going to make it a cohesive album, and that's important. And that's why we're doing what we're doing and why we're doing it the way we're doing it. So if that's an issue for anyone, please feel free to hit any of the admins up that run NCORE Collective. We can, obviously talk and figure things out and work with people. Like, we're not all inclusive to the point where we're like trying to keep people out because they work a certain way or do a certain thing. But we'll work with you. Like, we want to work with anyone and everyone. So no hate. We're just we have to set guidelines, and that's just to keep everything in order. But again, just to reiterate, I'm looking at my notes again. We need your band name, song title, plus the features, whoever's in the song other than you or your band. Composer credits, which would be their first and last name, or whatever name they go by. Composer credits. Fuck, I just told you that. Bones, am I high? My dog's name is Bones, by the way. He's just sitting here and just asking him. Anyways, lyricist credits. So whoever wrote lyrics, your drummer could have wrote the lyrics. We don't fucking know. Tell us. And then what the actual lyrics are. Then we're also going to need that. Again, I reiterated this several times at this point. We need a 16-bit, 441 kilohertz in wave format. Again, if you need to find out how to do this in your specific DAW, just look up whatever your DAW is, plus how to change export settings. Just look that up. I'm sure you'll find something. Okay? So that should be easy enough to get us all on board. And if you have any questions, feel free to hit up the Discord. It's going to be down in the comments or description. You know what? At this point, we're going to put it in the comments just because I said that so fucking much. So it'll be in the comments and it'll be in the description. And then also you can just comment it away in the YouTube or whatever, just, you know what? I might find a way to put this on like TikTok or something. You can, probably won't happen, but the idea's there. The idea's there. We can try it. We can play with the idea. Anyways, let me look through my notes. I don't think there's, you can hit up Leonhardt on Discord to submit your tracks. Or you can hit up NCORE@gmail.com. It's a little harder on Gmail just because I think they have a limit on how much you can send, like megabytes. I think it's 10. And most WAV files are like 50 plus or 40, 30, 34. I don't know. It's a lot. It's not a good amount. It's not a fun amount. Like a fun amount is like 10. And I know 10 sounds like peak. 1 out of 10. 10 sounds like peak. But like 30 to 50 is like actually peak. So like I don't know. I don't know at this point. Let's see here. Oh yeah, this is all because of the format. Is that what I'm thinking about? The file format. The file format is all because of like our streaming capabilities. So like CD Baby wants us to have a certain file format, and that's why we have to submit it in such a way. So it's honestly, if it comes down to it, if you send the wrong format, unfortunately, we're going to have to send you a message back and just say, hey, we need you to re-export the file in the right format. It's just not going to work. Unfortunately, that's just the way it is. Otherwise, we can't get the full album onto streaming services. That's just how it works. We don't make the rules. We just think them up, and we write them down, and we read them. Or they think them up and write them down. Anyways, you get where I'm going with this. But yeah, we're gonna go ahead and cut the fuck out now. Thanks for stopping in. If you have any questions, you have any tutorial ideas, I'm Kang. I can't sleep. I go by Kang Can't Sleep. And I plan on doing further tutorial videos similar to this. Hopefully better in the future. I'm cutting the skin on my teeth with this stuff. And I hope that in the future, the quality is going to get better. But this was a necessary video for the time being. So thanks for stopping in. Again, any questions, I'm going to be in the comments. I'm going to be in the Discord. I'll be there to answer them. If not, I can have them directed to me. So I hope to hear from you. I hope you found this informative. And I hope to talk soon.